say hello, and then we'll take questions.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm glad to be here, and I want to first right off the bat say I'm excited and appreciate Coach Charlie Strong for giving the confidence in me to come here and lead the USF Bulls on offense and try to put together a great offensive unit. And we're going to do our best to be exciting and to utilize our players to the best of their abilities and try to find the athletes that can fit our system and try to sort of use the positives that they bring to the table and put them within our system and make sure that we utilize those strengths and for us to be a very successful group on our side of the ball. But again, for my family who's back in Valdosta still, we appreciate the opportunity to come here and be a Bull, and it's going to be a great season ahead, and we're looking forward to get started here in the spring and introduce our offense to our players, getting them up to speed, and see where we can go from there.
Take questions.
Kerwin, without giving away your game plan, obviously, what would you say are one or two really distinguishing characteristics of your offense?
Well, the concept of our system, we've ran the system for 18 years now, and what I did, I was under 11 different offensive coordinators in my 13-year professional career. So what I did as I decided to get into coaching, I sort of took a little bit from a lot of people, but two of the main people that I've sort of depended on and sort of used in the way I built my system was Lindy Afonte when I was with the Indianapolis Colts, one of the smartest guys I've ever been around in the profession. And then also Steve Spurrier, and I was a GA under him in 1990, his first year at the University of Florida. And from that point on, that's when I really decided I wanted to be a coach, was that season. And so we utilize a lot of their concepts, a lot with some other people. But it's a pro-style passing game that utilizes a professional passing game with a lot of the spread concepts. So we think we've got the best of both worlds. We can get the ball in the hands of our best players when we need to and when we want to, and try to utilize their strengths in open field situations, which is what the spread is really about. And also then utilize the run game in the spread with our quarterbacks and the ability to sort of keep the numbers in our favor in the run game. But then when we want to drop back and throw the football, we do it on a professional level. And I think I've always said that, to me, that's where we separate ourselves from everybody else, is that a lot of spread teams I don't think can professionally drop back and throw the football on an NFL professional top level. And that's what we will bring to the table.
Coach, what's your impression of the USF personnel as it stands right now?
Well, it's, you watch it on film, and there's some talent here. There's some definitely talent. What you really like is the guys up front, because listen, we can draw up all the ball plays we want to. We can do all these exciting things, but we got to win the line of scrimmage. That's one thing that we're big on, is to be physical up front. We got to be the most physical football team on every Saturday we line up if we want to be good and consistent on the offensive side of the ball. So I like that group that's coming back. I think all of them are coming back that sort of finished the year. They've added a couple guys for some depth and some. I think there's still be some positions that are up for grabs. Even though there's 5 coming back, I think it's still be a highly competitive situation up there, which is always good. And then you got the 2 running backs, you got a veteran quarterback, and you got some receivers that can run and go get the football. So I think there's definitely some parts there we can work with. Like I said in my opening statement, I think the big thing is what I try to do. People said, do you play 2 tight ends? Do you play 1 tight end? Do you go with 3 or 4 receivers? We try to put the most explosive players on the field. So we're going to go through spring and we're going to find out who those explosive players are. And then our personnel groups will depend on that as we go through the season, because you always want to get your best guys on the field. And this system is, we can adapt to any situation we need to make sure we get our best players on the field. And I think with the group that we have, we'll know more when we get them on the grass out there in spring. But I think we've got a chance to have some explosive players that can really help us score a lot of points.
How does it feel to be back in Florida, where you've coach and play for so long, and if you could talk a little bit about your relationship with Charlie.
Well, it's great to be back in Florida. You know, I've been here most of my career, other than when I was around playing the game and going all over the country and into Canada and all over. I always came back here, and this is sort of my home. This is the state of Florida. But and then with Coach Strong, you know, it's funny. We've known each other for over 30 years. I remember when I was a player, I was introduced to him. He was a young GA at that time, and I was a college football player. And so we've known each other then, crossed paths many times. When he was a coach there at the University of Florida, and I'd come back and visit with those guys. And it was always a good relationship. Never like a serious, you know, close relationship, but it was something that we always respected each other, and we always thought a lot of each other. And I've always respected the heck out of him as a defense coordinator when he first came up, and then, you know, going to Louisville and doing the things he did. He's always had my respect as a coach, and I just thankful, like I said earlier, that he gave me a chance to come coach with him. I think it's going to be a good pairing, you know, him on defense and doing the things that he can do, and as a head coach, and then offensively us trying to score a bunch of points.
Coach, you played a lot of roles, coaching the pros, college, etc. What is it that you like just about being able to focus on the offense?
Well, I'm gonna have to tell you that after I get through. I've always been a head coach. When I got into the profession on a full-time basis, I was a player coach up in Canada. I was still playing the game and was offensive coordinator there in Toronto my last couple of years. But then from that point on, I've been a head coach. And so, but I really am looking forward to it. You know, and I always said if it was a situation for me, this will be the perfect situation. Whereas the head coach is a guy who I really admire and I trust and I believe in. But he's a defensive guy who that's his side of the ball that he really believes in and that he wants to focus on. And he's, you know, Coach Strong's given me total control to go in and run my own system. He's not an offensive guy sort of looking over your shoulder. It's a guy who, you know, who believes in what we're doing, and he's going to let me take sort of total control on that side of the ball, put it in our system, and run it. And so I think it's going to be a great situation. Head coach is a lot of different things that you've got to deal with. And it took away a little bit for me as the offensive coordinator. I'd stay up. Sometimes I'd stay in my office and spend the night because that was the quiet time I had to really concentrate on putting in the game plans and things like that, because during the day, all the head coaching duties were you were so involved. This is going to be an opportunity to really focus on that. My son, Kerwin Bell, who's coming on as quality control also, he really took a lot off my plate this past year with him growing up and been a GA for me and been a player for me. He knows my system as good as anybody, probably better than anybody other than myself. And he took a lot off my plate this year, and I thought that really helped us at Valdosta State, the way we were able to play on the offensive side of the ball. But now I get to go back and really focus on that, and I think it's going to really help me to really do the things I want to do offensively, just being the offensive coordinator.
What excites you most about being here at USF, and specifically with the personnel that you're going to have this fall?
Well, I think we've got a lot of speed. You know, this offense is predicated about speed. You know, I think you see a lot of guys that play with a lot of big receivers and you know, they throw a lot of jump balls, 50-50 balls. That's not who we are. We're going to go fast, and we're going to try to get matchups, but we're a system driven deal in that we're going to try to get people open. And we're going to go fast enough to try to keep the defense as simple as we can so they don't have time to really give us all these exotic looks. So you want to go fast enough to do that, but you don't want to go so fast that you're getting outnumbered in the run game or your protections aren't holding up. You want to make sure that you're in control on your side to the point where you can get the matchups and you can get the guys open in space for them, the guys, to be able to utilize their speed. So I'm all about speed, explosive players, because we feel like if we do that, we can find ways to get them in their positive positions on the field so they can utilize that speed. And so that's what we'll try to do is not just go fast, not just call a bunch of plays. We're going to go fast enough, but we're going to also make sure we get ourselves in the right position to give those chance to get those guys a chance to make explosive plays.
Coach, how do you feel about the change in competition going from Valdosta State Division II now to Division I? Teams that you're going to have to go against now, like Houston and such. How do you feel about this now?
Well, you know, it's funny. People say I've played at the highest level. I know what great football looks like. I know, and at Division II, we played great football. We executed at a high level, and it don't matter if it's against Division II, Division III, or wherever I was at, 1AA at Jacksonville, because I've just not been. You know, sometimes you can look at that and say it may be a big shock for you to come to this level. A guy who's been in D2 his whole life, maybe that guy. But that's not who I am now. I've been in NFL, I've coached at the highest level, and I know what it takes to play and what kind of execution you got to have to be at the highest level. And so I know what we're going to have to do to get ourselves ready, and I understand that. I understand speed. I remember being on the NFL teams and seeing the kind of speed that I thought SEC only had. And I got to the NFL, I said, that's nothing. The SEC's nothing compared to NFL. So I know what we're going against in this level, and we're gonna execute. I think that's the one thing about our system is that a lot of people just try to play so fast nowadays, and they try to just run so many plays. And if you look at us, I think the one thing you're going to see is we're going to go fast, but we're also going to try to execute at a very, very high level. And with our spacing, with our timing, with our rhythm of our system, I think you will see, and what I try to do is obtain perfection on the field. That's what got me interested in coaching. Was when I was in 1990, I never thought I'd coach. I blew out my knee, had ACL reconstruction. I missed a year of football until Buccaneers released me. And Steve Spurrier hired me as a graduate assistant. When I went there, I seen almost perfection on the field. His first year at the University of Florida, the spacing and just the concepts of the routes and the rhythm of the system. That's almost perfection, and that's what I try to obtain every day at practice. And I think we'll show that in the game, is how well we execute and the precision that we do it. And I think that will go to any level and be successful.
Coach, I read in an article that one of the reasons you left the University of Jacksonville was due to philosophical differences. What are some of the philosophical similarities between you and this university that would cause you to leave a head coaching role, a successful one at that?
Well, I think what sold me was, first of all, Charlie Strong. And I know Charlie, like I said, for 30 years, and I've respected the heck out of him as a head coach and as a defensive coordinator, just as a football coach. And not only as a coach, but as a person. I've known him, I've known his family, and he's a guy that I respect a heck of a lot as a coach and as a person. And I think you've got to surround yourself around good people. Just a little chance I've had with Michael Kelly, the AD here. He also I've known from, Alan Verlander and him have known each other. And Alan hired me at Jacksonville University as a great friend of mine and a guy who got me into the profession really on the college level, and was a great AD for me at Jacksonville University before he left me there at the end. But Alan has known Michael, and to hear him talk about him, I just think you got to have somebody above us that is willing to take us to the next level. And I'm excited about him as the AD. I think that's going to put us in a position to do great things here. And so with those two in place above me as the OC, I'm excited about the opportunity to take USF to a different level.
The tight end, Mitchell Wilcox, announced recently that he's remaining in school. Have you had a chance to really just watch him or study him, your impressions of him and how he could fit in?
Yeah, just to be honest, I have not. I've seen a little bit of film. I watched the Georgia Tech game yesterday when I got here in the office. He's a special player, though. Just watching him run routes, his size and ability to get open and separate from defenders, you can tell he's a very special, talented kid. And so, man, anytime you can keep guys like that here is really, really good. And so we're going to utilize him. Again, when we go through spring ball, I've gone into a season where we played a lot of 12 personnel, which is 2 tight ends, because we had 2 great ones. Let's utilize their abilities. There'll be years where we'll play with 4 receivers a lot because we got 4 great ones, and maybe we don't have that special tight end. So we're going to utilize our guys on this roster and try to put them in positions to be great football players, and he'll definitely be one that will we'll try to get in position to make plays for us.
Kerwin, just on that same note, I know you haven't watched a lot of film, but just kind of your initial thoughts on Blake Barnett.
It's funny, right when I got here yesterday in the parking lot, the first guy I met, he was walking out and I was walking in. I said, this is a good omen to, to meet the guy who I think can lead this offense this year. He's got everything you want physically. I don't know much about him, his makeup mentally and the way he approaches the game and how well he's going to catch on to this system. But I know he's played, he's been around some good football in his career. And last year he got a chance to really get in and be the guy. But he's got everything you're looking for. He's a sharp kid. He's got all the physical attributes you're looking for in a quarterback. I think he moves. People don't give him enough credit for that. Just watching him on film, I think he can do some things to help you maybe in the run game to keep the defense honest that we're always looking for to make sure we don't get outnumbered in the run game. I think he can give us some stuff there. But I think this is going to really help him in his career to be in a professional offense as far as throwing the football. Wick's going to be a five progression read, full field reads. Now after the first step, he may cancel 2 right off the bat. So he may, it's a rhythm. When he hits his back step, he's already should cancel 2, and he's already 1, 2, 3. He should have his reads as soon as he hits his back foot. And if it's not there, we expect him to hit his check down or run with the football. Let's keep positive plays. I always tell our quarterbacks, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play, who I don't know if he was the most gifted probably physically, was Peyton Manning. But he probably threw more check downs in the history of the NFL than any other quarterback because he was willing to take what the defense gives him on every play. And so we want to just take what the defense gives us, keep us in great down and distance situations. If we do that as an offense, that's probably what was so great about us at State this year. We had very seldom had a negative play. Only 19 sacks. Our running backs very seldom lost yards. So if you're a really good dynamic offense and then you keep yourself in great down and distance situations, you're going to score a bunch of points. Like I tell the quarterbacks all the time, hey, if it's not there, you either run and give me 2 yards or throw it out of bounds to keep us in good down and distance situations because we're going to be explosive. The next play may be a touchdown if you'll keep us in good down and distance situations. And I think Blake can bring that to the table. I think his leadership, I think the experience that he's had so far as a quarterback, and then all the intangibles that he brings, I think is going to really help this offense get off the ground here in the first year.